In this video, we're going to demonstrate how the tabbed UI component in version 12 has been enhanced so that you can now integrate login and logout functionality directly into the tabbed UI. So this is very important because a lot of applications are built with the tabbed UI as the home page of the application, and a very common pattern that you see in web applications is for login and logout links to appear in the top right hand corner over here, and then after the user logs in, a message indicating that the user is currently logged in. So let's go back to the tabbed UI builder now and see how this can easily be done in version 12. So back in the tabbed UI builder here, we go to our properties section, and we're going to go now to login, and we're going to specify that we'd like to have a login prompt, and we'd like the actual prompt to be login. You can use any text that you want, including using language tags. And then after the user logs in, we'd like to do a full reload of the page. We can also specify that we'd like to have a link to allow new users to register with new accounts, but for right now we're going to just leave that off. And then here's the template that we're going to use to display the username after the user has been logged in. So when the user logs in, the username here is going to basically be equal to whatever his user ID was when they logged in. But if you want to convert that login name into a friendly name by doing some XBasic scripting, you can use the new server-side events, the onLogin command, to compute a user-friendly name from the passed-in login name, and you can then customize that name, and we'll demonstrate that a little later on. So let's go back to our properties now, and now we can customize the login window. So we can specify the prompt for the username, the prompt for the password. We can go and specify all of the various styles, etc. We can specify the window size. We can turn on animation, etc. So let's just quickly go now and preview this in working preview here. So now you can see that we have a login prompt, and then if we basically go down there, you can see there's our little login window has been displayed over there. So in this particular project right now, you can see if I go to web security, I've already configured two users, user 1 who's part of group 1 and user 2 who's part of group 2. And also what I've done on the tabbed UI is I've got 3 buttons here, but the first button, which opens up grid number 1, can be seen by all roles, whereas this button, the second button, can only be seen by people who are in group 1, and then here is all people who are in group 2. So let's now take a look at this component and see how it operates. So we'll just publish it, and now let's go over to our browser and reload the page. So now there's our login linked over there, and when I press login, we can see there's our dialog. If I type in incorrect credentials, then I get my validation message. So let's go now, type in user 1 at alphasoftware.com, and this is going to be user 1, and then click the login button. So now you can see that what's happened is we've reloaded the component. We now have our message here, which is based on the template that we defined, and our login message has changed to logout. And now we can see the button for group number 1 because we're currently logged in as a user who's in group number 1. So now if we log out, you can see that the page gets reloaded and now the login appears again, and only the button for all groups is currently visible. So let's pause now and then pick it up in the next video. So we're continuing our video on the new login logout functionality in the tabbed UI component. So now let's log in as the next user. So we'll go here and we'll type in user 2 at alphasoftware.com, and then user 2 ALPHASOFTWRE, and then log in. And we can see now that our message over here changes to user 2, and we now have basically the button for group 3, because this is the button that was enabled for all users who are in group number 2. So we can click there and click there, and now if we go ahead and log out, you can see now basically the tabs are closed, and we now have the login button. So let's go back now to the builder and see how we can put a friendly name on the screen after the user logs in. So we'll go back now to our tabbed UI builder, and inside the events now, you can see that there are server-side events on login and on logout, and there are also client-side events, basically can log in, after login, can log out, and after logout. So we want to go to the server-side on login event, and what we're going to do here is we're going to say if e.username equals user1 at alphasoftware.com, then user friendly user name equals, and then go here and say John Smith. And if now, obviously in a real world application, you would probably have some table, a SQL table perhaps, that has friendly names for all valid usernames, and you would be doing a lookup over here. But we're just going to try to demonstrate now how this event is going to fire. And then let's go back to our properties, and you can see that we can change the template. So we can go here and say welcome. So let's go there and save that now, publish this, and then go ahead and reload our page. So we'll go now reload our page, and then log in as user1 at and then log in now, and you can see now it says welcome John Smith. So we've shown how the on login event can be used to do practically anything that you want after the user logs in. So next now let's go and show how we can integrate new user sign up as well. So let's go back now to the builder, and what I'm going to do now is turn on the has registered new account link. So now that's going to display a hyperlink on the top menu bar that says register. I'd also like to point out that you can customize other aspects of that top menu. So I can go here and put whatever HTML that I want on the left side and the center side of that menu bar. So I'll just go here and I'll just type in, say, left, and then center, so we can actually see what's happening. Now the next thing it's asking me for is the name of the component that I would like to display where the user can sign up for a new account. So I can just click the smart field here, and I can choose an existing component, but right now I don't have any component. So I'm going to have Alpha 5 actually build a UX component for me where the user can sign up for a new account. So I'm going to go here and type in new user registration, and then click this button, and Alpha 5 will actually go ahead now and build a dialog component for me. So we built a dialog component, a UX component called new user registration, and this is very important. We need to make sure that the component security has been set to all users, always allowed. Otherwise when a user tries to access that component to sign up, he won't have permission. So we're continuing our discussion on the tab UI login logout functionality, and we've just created a UX component where the user will register for a new account. So let's close this down now, and then go to the new component that was just created. right click on it and say always allowed, and that's very important. Then if we go look here, we can see that a component has been built, and we've automatically added the server-side event in the after dialog validate event we're calling into an action server-side action script that is going to save the security values to the security tables. So all of this code was automatically generated for you when you click the button in the tabbed UI builder. And now, of course, I'm free to go here and change the cosmetics of this component or add new controls, etc. So let's now go and test it out. So we'll publish all the files in the project again, and we'll go there and choose our home page, and then go ahead now and publish. So now we've published our component, and we can see now that we've added in this text for left and center, which you can customize yourself. And also notice that since we're already still logged in, when we relaunch this page, it already knows that we're logged in, and so it's got the logout prompt and the welcome message rather than the login prompt. So when I go here and reload this page, because we're currently still logged in, we don't get the login prompt. We get the already existing logged in user message over here. So now let's go ahead and log out, and once we log out, you can see that we now have the register hyperlink over here where we can register a new account. So let's go ahead now and click the register new account, and let's go now and fill in, say, user 3 at, and we'll type in the password as user 3al. And then click submit. So now basically it tells us that we're registered and we can now log in. Now this user who's just been registered is not part of either group 1 or group 2, so when we register him, when we log in as user 3, we're not going to see any additional buttons over here because he doesn't have permission to those new to those buttons. So let's go now and log in, and we'll type in user 3 at, and then go ahead now and click the login button, and you can see now we're now logged in as user 3. So we've shown now how we've completely integrated sign up for new account into the tabbed UI as well. So now let's go back and take a look at some more of the additional login logout functionality that has been added. So we'll go back now to the tabbed UI builder, and let's bring it up, and we can see that in addition to the login functionality and also all of the customization options that exist for the actual login window, which include the ability to put arbitrary text on that login dialog, so you can put logos and any information that you want inside the header text and the footer text. There's also a new section here called session timeout warning. So let's pause the video now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing our discussion on the new features of the tabbed UI component and the ability to integrate login logout functionality to the tabbed UI. And the next topic we're going to be discussing is the session timeout warning. So when you configure the application server in Alpha 5, you specify what the session length is. So the session length is the amount of time that the session is kept alive after there has been no user activity. So I think the default is 15 minutes, but you can set it to whatever time that you want, and if there's no user activity for whatever the session timeout has been set to, the session then will expire, the user will then be logged out, and all session variables that the user had will be discarded. So in many applications it's desirable to actually display a warning to the user to tell them that their session is about to expire so that they can do something to extend the session. This is very commonly seen, for example, in banking applications, where if you're logged into your account and you walk away for some period of time, the application will automatically log you out. So let's go now and turn on display session warnings. And then this lets you specify how many minutes in advance of the session timeout you would like to display the warning. It lets you specify the frequency with which you'd like to check this for a session timeout. So we've set this to 1 minute. And then after the session timeout, you have options to either do nothing, which means that a dialog box will remain up on the screen telling the user that that the session has expired, or you can redirect to another page. And typically you'll want to redirect back to yourself, because the tab UI will often now be the actual login component as well. So right now I'm going to just leave it at do nothing, and then the dialog that just tells the user that their session has expired is going to have an OK button on it, and the OK button, when that is clicked by the user, will execute any JavaScript that you want. And if you'd like it to reload the current page, you can just use this placeholder, this instruction which says reload this page. So now, once you've turned on session timeout warnings, you can customize all aspects of it. So for example, here's my message that's going to display in the message box, and you can see that inside the message we've got the placeholder which tells you in how many seconds the session is actually going to expire. And then there's a button on the dialog that lets you extend the session. So by clicking this button, you're going to cause an AJAX callback to take place. It's a dummy AJAX callback, doesn't actually do anything, but it does serve to extend the session, and then you can continue to customize other aspects of that warning message. So what I'm going to do now is go and set my session timeout to an arbitrarily short 2 minutes, and then we'll pick up the demonstration after I've done that. So we've now set the session timeout to 2 minutes, and what I've also done is added a button to the tab UI over here, and this little button just executes a JavaScript function which I've pasted into the code here, and this JavaScript function displays the amount of time until the session expires. So let's save this now and go ahead and publish our component, and then go ahead and run it. So we'll go here now and reload our component, and if we go and click this button now, this is going to tell us that the session is going to expire in 1.9 minutes because as I mentioned, the session timeout has been set to 2 minutes. So now if I click it again, we can see it's gone now down to 1.7 minutes. But if I do something like open a grid and then display this, you can see now we've gone back up again now to the full 2 minutes. So let's pause now and continue in the next video. So we're continuing our discussion now on the tabbed UI component, and we're talking about the warning dialog that comes up just before the session is about to expire. So let's refresh this page so that we start out with a new session, and when we click this button over here, we can see that the session has been set to expire in 2 minutes, and that the time since the last server activity was at this was 2 seconds ago, and the session is going to expire in 1.95 minutes. So if we click this button again, now we can see that the session now is going to expire in 1.6 minutes. But if we do something, for example, open a grid, now you can see we've gone back up now to 1.9 seconds. So now let's pause for a few seconds and wait just before the session is about to expire, and then we'll turn the recording back on again. So let's turn back recording on right now, and then we should see the session timeout warning message be displayed any second now. So here it comes up, and it's telling us now that the session is going to expire in 53 seconds, and then it's going to count down all the way to the end. So at any point while this dialog is displayed over here, we're free to press this button, which will make an AJAX callback, a dummy AJAX callback, and then extend the session. So I'm going to go ahead now and press this button, and now that causes the session to get extended. And now if I go look at the button again, I can see we now have our full 2 minutes again until the session expires. So I'm going to pause again now and let the dialog come up once again. So let's turn the recording back on again now, and again the session timeout warning should come up now, because it's now almost another minute since we extended the session, and now we're again a minute before the session expiration. So now we're going to let this go all the way down to 0 and have that session actually expire. So let me pause now, and then I'll put it on just before the session expires. So now you can see the session is going to expire. Well, it has expired now. So now that the session's expired, we've changed this message. The extend session button no longer is valid, so it's been replaced by the OK button, and it's telling us now that the session has expired. Now you can see that the dialog here still says that we're logged in as John Smith, but when I click the OK button now to dismiss this warning dialog over here, we're going to do an AJAX callback. We're going to do a reload, sorry, and now that we're back now, we're no longer logged in, and we now have the login button over here. So the user was told that their session has expired, and we've now redisplayed this page. Now we could also, in the session expired event, specify that we would like to go to a completely different page, or automatically reload this page. In other words, we could have just automatically dismissed that dialog and reloaded this page. So there's a lot of functionality and options that you can set when you configure the way the session timeout warning should display. So what we've shown in this series of videos is how you can now seamlessly integrate login, logout, register new user, and session timeout warning in the tabbed UI component in version 12. I hope that you found this interesting. Thanks very much for watching.